All right. Welcome to another episode of the Base Marriage Podcast. Today I have some interesting topics for you today. Yes, first of all, thank you all for watching our last episode. That was great. My wife enjoyed being interviewed, as many women often do. They like talking about their feelings, and that's exactly what we did in the last episode. And it was great. Today's episode is, again, a solo episode with myself, moi. So today we're talking about a couple of different topics. First of all, there is a thing called codependency, and a lot of women use this term, and a lot of men may have heard them use this term, but it seems to be more frequently used by women, oftentimes to describe their mothers, similar to the word narcissist. My mother was a narcissist, my mother is codependent, things like that. Anyways, I want to talk a little bit about codependency. This is specifically for husbands to kind of get a better understanding of what that means and what it looks like in your own marriage. Just a minute, please. Yes, this is my Wyoming mug. I got this mug visiting my sister and brother-in-law the last 2 Octobers. God, Wyoming is beautiful. It's unbelievable. October is a fantastic time to go to Wyoming. It was not too hot. It was really decent. We could spend some days out hunting. You didn't need a sweater, but you also didn't sweat. It's fantastic. I'm drinking community coffee, New Orleans style, with roasted chicory. It comes that way. That's pretty good. Anyways, all right, so we're talking about codependency. What is codependency? Codependency is basically when a person is looking to somebody else to figure out how they should feel or behave. So this often happens. A lot of husbands that I work with, so a lot of husbands complain that their wives, if the husband's upset about something, but the wife doesn't know what it is, the wife will be upset or standoffish. Basically, the wife has this tremendous insecurity in herself. Usually, the husbands report that the wife's mother was particularly overbearing. She had a temper. She could be kind of domineering. And so that woman, not the mom, the mother-in-law, the mom, but her daughter grows up trying to always gauge mom's emotions and figure out what mom's emotional state might be so that the girl can either try to pacify mom or she can get out of the way. Now, generally, it's the trying to pacify mom. So when this girl grows up and she marries a man, she marries her husband, she then does the same thing with him. Basically, this girl does not understand that she is an emotional individual and that the other person is an emotional individual and that it's okay to have your own individual emotional experience. Basically, if the husband is upset for any reason, it's okay for the wife not to be upset. These women do not seem to understand that concept. These women didn't grow up learning to have their own emotional experience. They were not validated by mom to have their own emotional experience. Validated, yeah, it's okay for you to be upset. Or it's okay for me to be upset and you not to be upset. Oftentimes, there was a wall plaque that I saw one time that said, "If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy." That's the root of codependency. If I'm not happy, it's your problem, it's your fault, and you better do something to fix it. Ugh, it's mental illness on a wall plaque. Many times, these husbands will explain. So many times, these husbands explain that their wives will kind of be standoffish until they figure out why the husband is upset. So these wives, to some degree, want their husbands to share their struggles with them because then the wife can say, "Oh, okay, good. He's not upset with me. He's upset about some other thing. Doesn't have to do with me. Okay, now I feel better. I love it when you share with me." Not because she gets emotional intimacy, but because she gets let off the hook because she then realizes, oh, okay, it's not my fault. It's not my problem. I didn't do it. It's okay. Whew. What is important to learn, to understand, to help you mature is that it's okay if other people are upset with you. Learn how to be okay with that. It's okay, wives, if your husband's upset with you. Say, okay, be calm about it. Chill out about it. Be cool. It's okay. It's okay for him to be upset with you. Panicking to figure out why he's upset with you is probably not a good idea. It doesn't work. What's the point? Mature adults sit down and have a discussion about it. Even if you're feeling kind of anxious about it, sit down, have a discussion about it. Don't be avoidant, don't be panicky, don't be anxious, and definitely don't take it out on the kids. And husbands, if your wife is this way, she's not actually interested in having emotional intimacy with you. It sounds like she is. Okay, yeah, I'd love to hear about your struggles. Oh, it's great to hear about your struggles. She doesn't want to hear about your struggles for its own sake. She wants to hear about it so she knows whether or not she needs to fix it, whether or not she is the problem. She doesn't want emotional intimacy with you. She can't handle emotional intimacy with you. If she is the problem, she's going to have a rough time when you complain to her. Now, what many men experience is that their wives kind of act like a satellite. Okay? She might pick up that he's having a rough day, or that he's just a little quiet or a little distant today. She might pick up on that, and she'll just sit there and kind of look at him from time to time, trying to figure out, is he okay? What's he feeling? What's he thinking? And it's really off-putting for the husband because he feels like he's being treated like a science project. Oh, yeah. What kind of bug is that? I can't figure that out. He's no longer a person. He doesn't feel like he's being treated as a person. He's being treated as something that's being examined. He's lost his personal character in her eyes. She's gauging him. She's looking at him like a thing, not like a human, not like a person, not like her husband. So that experience is really off-putting. But that's what she's doing. She's trying to figure out if there's what you are feeling. You could just be in your nothing box, but she's trying to figure out if you're in your nothing box or if you're having a rough time. And then she wants to fix it because she has a difficult time with you having struggles and not telling her about it. Everything needs to be pacified in her experience, in her mind. The step forward is to talk with her about it and say, okay, you and I are both emotional individuals. I have my own emotional experiences, and you have your own emotional experiences. I have my own beliefs. You have your own beliefs. Many of our beliefs are very similar, and many are not. I have my own personality, my own characteristics and traits, my own openness to different experiences, different knowledge, my own openness to challenging what I believe in order to find truth. And you may or may not. Yours may look the same, it may not. And that's okay. We are individuals. So if I'm having a rough day, it's okay for you to not have a rough day. And it's okay for you to not fix it. And if you're having a rough day, it's okay for me to not have a rough day, to be happy, to be content, to have a good day, and not have to fix it. So that's what you explain to your wife. This doesn't have to be a long conversation. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. And it's probably better if it's not. There's no need for it. You just say, on the fly, I wanted to share something with you. They like that word share. I've noticed that if I get upset, you kind of start getting upset as well. And I just wanted to say something. We're both emotional individuals. I am my own person. You are your own person. And then explain what I just explained. It's okay for us to have different emotional experiences and not fix it. It's okay for me to be mad at you for things. Sometimes there's a good reason for it, and sometimes there's not. But either way, it's okay for me to be mad. And it's okay for you to be mad. And sometimes you have a good reason for it, and sometimes you don't. And it doesn't matter. Those are your feelings. It's okay for you to have those feelings. You choose how you're going to behave with them, but it's okay for you to experience those. And we don't have to be on the same page with our experiences. So you can have that conversation with her. And you might ask her, hey, what was it like when your mom got upset or when your dad got upset? What did you do? Like, did you find it difficult to be around her? Did you do things to try and pacify her, take care of her, make her happy, make her not upset anymore? Oh, yeah, I used to do that. Oh, okay. You don't have to do that here. You don't have to pacify me. Just let me experience what I'm experiencing, and then I will come and talk to you if I find that it's necessary, if I need to. If I need to means if it's good for you. Otherwise, men, she probably can't handle it. If you're having conversations with her that she can't handle on an emotional level, and it doesn't have anything to do with her, it's probably better that you go have those conversations with your guy friends or coworkers or whomever. A lot of modern women lack the emotional maturity to be able to listen to the struggles that their husbands are going through. They just can't do it. They don't have the emotional maturity. And so oftentimes, when a husband will tell his wife about something, she'll crumble, she'll collapse. She doesn't know how to do it. She can't stay distant. She takes on his stress rather than listening to it and going, yeah. Wow, that sounds like a rough time. Okay. She is likely low in empathy. Not capable of being able to see that you are experiencing something and be detached from it and say, yeah, that's a rough time. I can objectively say that looks like a rough time. You are suffering. I can recognize that you are suffering. Generally, they can't do it. The women who are codependent can't do it. They're focusing on their own insecurity and trying to pacify that insecurity that exists because of somebody else's emotional experience. So that brings us to the topic of emotional availability. A lot of women say that they want a man who is emotionally available. Men think, oh, emotionally available. Like, you want me to talk about my feelings and let you know what they are. That's not what they want. What emotional availability means. I want an emotionally available man. What that means is when I'm experiencing strong emotions, I want him to sit there and listen as long as it takes, and then not to expect the same in return. This was very clear in the conversations too. She doesn't want to hear about his emotions. This is not what modern women want. Basically, if you're on a backpacking trip, she wants you, when she gets tired, she wants you to carry her backpack. But she doesn't want to carry yours. She's not open to carrying yours. And whenever she gets tired, she wants you to carry hers. Now, here's the problem. Each of you have your own emotions. You have your own experiences, like we just talked about in the last segment. You can only carry your own backpack. He can only carry his own emotional backpack. Maybe he can listen a little bit sometimes, but women experience emotions far more frequently than a man has time to sit down and listen to. Women would put the importance of their emotions very high on the list, if not number one, in terms of priorities. But there's the practical aspects of the day. Maybe you just even having a casual or leisurely time together. And when women want to talk about their feelings, that's not a casual, leisurely time. If it's a bank account, she's wanting to make a withdrawal. And she wants you to make a deposit. And so they want to make a lot of withdrawals from the relationship. Now, there are women out there who are emotionally mature, who are able to handle their own emotions. They experience their emotions and go, yeah, I'm just upset, and that's okay. And they might talk to somebody a little bit about it, but they are capable of having a mature experience of their own emotions and not one where they're like a child, where a child experiences emotions and has to emotional vomit all over somebody else in order to feel better about them, but they really don't feel that much better anyways. So that's what emotional availability means. I want a man who's going to listen to me ramble on about my emotions, but I'm not willing to listen to him ramble on about his. I want him to carry my emotional backpack when I need it, but I'm not willing to carry his. A lot of men will go to their wives and tell them their struggles, and the wives can't handle it. They end up worse after the conversation. generally speaking, many women cannot handle those conversations well. It throws them into a tailspin. They become emotional, and then they have to go back and talk to him about it again in order to be able to process through it. They can't handle it. So the practical here is, men, you just need to talk to your bros about your issues. It's not supposed to be that way. I mean, look at your grandmother. Do the women today act like your grandmother? Does your grandmother just fall apart? Most grandmothers don't just fall apart or have to emotional vomit all over somebody. Most grandmothers don't have to do that. There are some that do, but it's not most. Do the women of today have the same emotional maturity as their grandmothers did, as their great-grandmothers did? No. And it's not because she's 80 or 90 years old now, and so she had 80 years of practice. The women of today don't even understand that there's a difference, nor how to get to a place of emotional maturity. I don't even know that emotional maturity as an intended goal is even on the radar for most modern women. It does not appear to be. So here's the big problem with this whole carrying her backpack issue, okay? So women grow up believing this, oftentimes because dad took care of her emotions and made her feel better all the time. And she watched a whole bunch of Disney movies growing up because the Disney movies all put this out, that it's a man's job to make the woman happy. That's bunk. She has to choose to be happy, period. It's a mindset thing. She has to choose to be happy. So what happens if she doesn't get married? Who's going to make her happy? Nobody. What happens if a man doesn't propose to her? Who's going to make her happy? Nobody. What happens if she gets married and her husband passes away prematurely? Who's going to make her happy? Nobody. Okay, so it is at least theoretical that a woman is capable of learning how to handle her emotions in a healthy way without a man. And getting a husband does not exempt a woman from needing to learn how to do this. For her own kids' sake, she needs to learn how to do this. Otherwise, she's teaching her kids that somebody else is responsible for your emotions. Or she's teaching them, you are responsible for my emotions, and I ain't going to do squat for your emotions. That's not good either. Emotional maturity is learning to experience your own emotions and be okay with them, even when they're really uncomfortable. Being okay with them and saying, these are my responsibility. I can handle this. And I can kind of lean on somebody sometimes if absolutely necessary. But generally speaking, I can handle this. So in this segment, we're going to talk about the effects of divorce. Okay? A lot of people think that divorce is okay. They just see that that's the light at the end of the tunnel, but they don't think past it. All right, so let's say that your wife is nuts, okay? She's a female covert narcissist, which is a very common issue. And you finally decided that you can't handle all of the slow boiling and the crazy making and the fights and the victimhood and all the other stuff. The harm that she can do to your children right now with you intervening is nothing compared to what she's going to do to them and to you when you divorce. So you move out. Or let's say she moves out. Whatever. It doesn't matter. If a woman wants a divorce, never leave. Make her leave. Make her move out. Another topic for another day. All right, so you're living in two different places. Now your wife has your children, and you're not there ever to be able to intervene. If she's griping at them, barking at them, manipulating them, whatever, you are not there. Your children are at her mercy. And if she gets a boyfriend, what's he going to be like? Crazy attracts crazy. If she is crazy, if she's nuts, if she's all these things, she's attracting a guy who, no, he's not going to be like you because you were single and had no kids, and she had no kids when y'all first got together. Now she's a single mom. Okay? What kind of a man is interested in a crazy single mother? Is it a man who's really genuinely out for trying to do what is best for this woman and for her children? If he's so great, why did he not go get a woman who has no children, who is not divorced? Why didn't he go get her? Why is he going on the market to look for a single mother with children who has crazy? If he's smart, he can tell he's manipulated. So what kind of a man wants that? She's going to have your kids with him involved, and you're not there to intervene. What is he bringing into the home? In my work, I've seen a whole variety of different things. Physical abuse, picking on and belittling the kid, being a bully, worse, doing things to the kid he shouldn't be doing. You know what I'm talking about, but I can't say it on here. That's not good stuff. You can't intervene. If your wife is manipulative, if she is a female covert narcissist, she's going to work to turn the kids against you, make you out to be the bad guy, and make her to be the good guy. You won't badmouth her in front of the kids because men generally don't do that when they've been divorced. they generally don't dog on their ex-wives because they know that that's their kid's mother, and they know that that's not good for the kids to see their mother in that light. I'm saying generally, there are exceptions to that, but generally speaking. But women who are divorced will tear their ex-husbands to pieces in front of the children. They will dog on him, treat him like a loser, talk about him in all the worst ways possible. They will intentionally work to turn the kids against the fathers. I've seen this happen over and over and over again. It's brutal. When the kids go and live with mom, which is usually the case, which is an absolute disaster for our culture. A single mom has the worst results. The children perform poorly in every way when they're raised by a single mom compared to being raised by a single father. It's shocking, I know. They get divorced. She blames him. She turns the kids against him. 5-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds. So the 10-year-old finally gets out of the house, goes to college. So that's 8 years later. 8 years of having a distant and bad relationship with dad because mom has turned the 10-year-old against dad. 8 years later, college starts. 4 years after that, they graduate college. So that's, 12 years. And then they get out on their own. They're living away from mom, and they realize how absolutely nutty mom was. And they go, hey, maybe my dad wasn't that bad. So 12 years minimum. If the child's a 10-year-old, 12 years minimum before your child starts to realize that you are not the bad guy. For that 5-year-old, that's 17 years. You have missed that child's entire life because mom turned him against you. He hates you until he grows up and might have a relationship with you and then comes to realize, well, maybe dad's not so bad. But if mom worked to make that child care for her emotions, that child will always care for her emotions. It's his job to make her feel good. He has learned that message. He won't let it go. So even though he might have some relationship with dad, he's going to hold on to that as the codependent. He's going to hold on to that and still put mom as number one, even if mom is terribly manipulative toward him. He doesn't see it. It's the devouring mother. I will take care of all of your needs, but you can never go. You can never leave. Your job is to stay here and make me feel good about myself. Take care of my feelings. So you want a divorce. That's what you have to look forward to. Your wife manipulating your kids, turning your kids against you, and whatever bohunk she brings into a relationship to raise your children or abuse your children, you can't stop it. So are you sure that you really want to have a divorce? Is that what you really want? You chose to have children. You have to put them ahead of you, at least where they are in danger or where there's a possibility of danger. It's your job to protect them and take care of them. You have that as a duty. You must do that. Yes, it is hard as hell living with that woman. Yes, she's manipulative. Yes, she plays the victim card left and right. We can work on that stuff. That's not impossible to overcome. Yes, she slow boils. Yes, she does the crazy making stuff. Like when she goes out and waxes your Corvette and puts scratches all in it. I was just trying to help. That's crazy making. And then she plays the victim card, and then you're the bad guy after you blow up and lose your cool. And then you go apologize, and then she marks the scoreboard. I won, and he lost. So, yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard. Being able to identify how she manipulates and to call it out in the moment is particularly helpful. You can learn how to do that stuff. But getting divorced, man, that is going to wreck you even worse. It's going to wreck your kids. Everything you've been working hard to build, gone. Your money, your wealth, your home, your children, your family, gone. Toast. Hasta la vista, baby. So that's the effects of divorce. Just on a relationship, familial sort of issue. So if you want help working on that stuff, we can do that. You just get in touch with me through the show, and we can do that. Shoot me a message or something. I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Based Marriage Podcast. Y'all have a great day. God bless.
It's based. It's so based, and you don't even know it, baby.